Okay.
Yep.
Hello, welcome to another episode of my Bellslea Black and White Past and Present. Tonight's a slightly different episode for two reasons. One, it's the first video episode. And second, we've got Fraserburgh football star Ryan Cowie. I want to talk about his testimonial upcoming on Saturday. Hello, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good, Willie. How are you, mate?
I'm very well. Thanks for coming on.
I know what it is, mate.
Everybody's looking forward to this big match on Saturday. Unfortunately, Ryan, I've got to apologise in advance. I'm going to miss it. I'm away on holiday tomorrow. Sorry, pal.
You get your priorities right, pal.
Well, I didn't
Going away during the season.
I had a chat.
No, it's all right, mate.
But I'll maybe get to stream it on Saturday. I'll maybe find a quiet corner somewhere and go and watch it. So you're coming up to your 12th season with the Brock, Ryan.
Yeah.
328 games in. So the time you signed till now, is the time flown in?
It has, mate. It has. And I mean, I've said to a couple of folks past week, like, it's asked a similar question. It's like, you don't realise how quickly it catches up in you, mate. I mean, like previously, like Mark and Hunter have both stood probably in front of the boys in the change room saying that it's going to be that your football career is short, so enjoy these special moments, and you just look at them as though to say, no, it's not. I've got plenty of years left, but plenty of years still to come, hopefully as well, like mate.
Just what Mark and Hunter said there, you think, what a rubbish. I'm only a young lad. Suddenly, well, you're not an alpha fella yet, like, but suddenly you're 11 seasons into your time at the Brock. Crazy how time flies, isn't it?
It is, as I said, it's been mad. It's been a good journey. It's been really good.
So in our 11 seasons, how has Ryan Cowie changed as a player and as a person?
I wouldn't say wiser, like more mature, probably. Yeah, I mean, when you're young, you just go out to play on a Saturday. You're just more focused on that. The older you get, you take more responsibility on, probably as a teammate. I would say your role kind of changes in the change room. So yeah, as the years have went on, I've kind of seen myself as being one of the guys that kind of offer support and advice to the younger guys coming through. So and embrace that. I like to see improvement in players and youngsters and see it. When they become when they first come into a team and then they become first team boys. It's rewarding as a teammate.
So you're going full circle now, because when you was a young lad, who was a lad that helped you when you came in?
Oh mate, I had so much. I was lucky in terms of when I first came to Brock, you had big characters and boys like Boomer and Russell, my brother Mark, Gizzy, Stevie Main, Dicko, Willie. I mean, just a senior at the time, and then my brother Dino, Leesky. There's loads of characters, and I mean, they helped me a lot as well. It's took me under the wing a bit, and I mean, gave me some constructive criticism when I needed it. But it was great for me as a player to come in and change rooms like that and learn off these boys.
You said constructive criticism. That's a really important thing, to get constructive criticisms along the way. But as a young lad, was there any one bit of advice that kind of stuck with you and you still remember getting that advice from anybody?
Russell used to say, "Don't listen to Hunter." Don't listen to him.
Difficult when he was your manager.
My manager. But no, I mean, I've had loads. To be fair, Paul. I mean, Hunt as a manager was great in terms of he knew you can give me a rollicking because I played my best football probably when I got. I almost wanted to go and prove a point, so he could almost give me a rollicking just outside the park, and I'd respond so. And then you had guys around about me like Boomer and maybe Russell. It would be encouraging, so it was a bit of both. But it's just loads of advice, mate. I'm taking it on board a bit as well, and I'll try to use bits that I've learned when I was a youngster to some of the other young boys when I'm playing now.
Good, and you're quite happy to pass on that advice to the youngsters now?
They don't listen to me, I will bark and shout at them in the park, but you can tell them deaf ears. Like, nah, we've got a good group. We've got a good group. Like, and I mean, I've taken on a bit of fitness role and try to help some of the boys that maybe I seen myself in. You know, a guy that was maybe needing add a bit of muscle and strength and power, like just to fit into the team and how Mark wants to play, and just to give them a bit of belief and confidence as well. Like, 'cause I knew it helped me until, you know, you feel you've got a talent to play in a team, but it definitely helps if you add attributes in terms of physicality and that, you know, especially in our leagues. So I've kind of try to pass that on to some of the other boys that's came in, either signings or boys through the youth, like just to kind of offer some support and guidance that way. And it shows that some of the boys have taken it on board, definitely. You know, boys came back close season even, you know, you do recognise some of them, you know. Bigger than me. I'm almost envious of them now. Like, I wish I didn't offer them as much advice.
Well, the lad that's fairly filled in his last 2 seasons, you would say would be Logan Watt.
Yeah, no, Logan was at me. I mean, I'll need to put a bill in, I think, because just I was constantly in the WhatsApps to him, like, you know, just asking about different things. He was really invested for a close season, and but I've noticed with everyone, you know, Greg Buchan, a guy that's established high league player, still wanting to make improvements in close season, which is great to see. And he's came back and flying. Keenan Simpson, if I never thought I'd get to go in a gym. He's well against it. That's probably because he travels with Butcher if I was dead against that. Like, but I think he's spent a bit of time there as well and improving. He even says he's a bit faster, which is baffling. Is it? But, the other guys as well. I mean, Josh and Connor, I'm on to them constantly, but that's probably because I travelled with them, you know, and
Yeah.
they made a step up to Highland League in a Fraser a team that probably wasn't performing at its best, so it's hard for them last year. But I did say to them, be patient and get a good close season in where you improve yourself and go put a bit self investment into your physicality and that, and then just come back to pre-season flying. And both of them have, to be fair, like, so. No, it's been good. But in general, all the youngsters, all the guys have taken it on board. Like,
Well, it's famously known that you took the team through Zoom sessions during lockdown.
aye.
So,
Yeah.
so you learned then, is that still in place for part of the pre-season now? Do you still do bits of it?
No. I think the boys would put in transfer requests if they thought they were going back to the living rooms. Like, I think that was mandatory just because of the circumstances. But yeah, no, I mean, the thing is, I offer during close season. I kind of compiled a program for boys, but it's more just what I was planning doing myself. You know, I mean, I was planning putting a lot of work into the gym just because I felt last year was a bit stop-start and I didn't get a chance to do so. So it was a reset button with me, and I thought instead of me just being selfish to keep myself, I kind of compiled it for the guys and putting nutrition in as well. And yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll do Zoom sessions, but through pre-season, I've kind of, close season, sorry, I kind of worked with them that way. So
Good.
they're off to their own devices, like, but I mean, it's evident when we came back to pre-season, you know, boys have either put on a bit of size or they're looking a bit faster or a bit stronger, and you know, so that's satisfying to me. It means that all that work I put in's no went to waste. Like,
So they do listen to you, pal.
kind of do listen to them. Yeah, maybe I do.
Now, so we played Celtic 2 weeks ago. We played Brock United last night. We've got Aberdeen on Saturday. Then we've got, is it Mad? Then East Fife.
East Fife.
So
No, to be fair, it's a good mixture there. Like, in terms of, I wasn't at the Celtic game, but by our accounts, speaking to my brother and then speaking to guys that was there, I think we did well. You know, it was probably a game, first game back. You normally don't see the ball anyway because it's against higher opposition. But by all accounts, I think we had a few decent chances, which is rare normally when you're playing a full-time team or a team at a higher level in the first game pre-season. So that was good. And then Cove Rangers as well. I mean, it's quite daunting going up to Balmoral because the times we did play there when they're in the Highland League, they gave us a wee run around. Like, so, you know, I thought it would be another similar game to Celtic where we'd maybe box in, but the boys had a few chances again, and it was more, I think, Cove were actually surprised at how well we coped with them, you know, full-time boys again. So, and then Brock United, I mean, it was another test because there's a bit of fiery up there, you know, and Russell's got a good team there. He's got a team that works hard, same principles as Fraserburgh, same principles as us. So it was about how we deal with the ball because probably the first two games we weren't expected to have as much of the ball as were Brock United. So I think it was another test, and I think boys passed it. You know, I mean, I was really impressed with some of the youngsters. Josh Hawkins, I thought was excellent, 16-year-old. Like he was really tenacious and drove the ball well, like which kind of was infectious across the rest of the starting 11. Like, and Logan bagged a hat-trick, which you're saying. I mean, and I think he's one of the boys that will benefit from improving his physicality and his power because he's that type of player. You know, he plays in the middle of the park and he likes to bomb forward and get in the end of things and edge of box. So he looks like he's playing with a bit of confidence just now as well. So no, it's been good. Friendly's been good.
Good. So all prepared, ready. 29th of July, we play Lossy at home. First game.
Aye, yeah. I mean, that's what we're driving towards. Yes, it's all about getting minutes, I suppose, for guys right now. I mean, my first minutes came yesterday. I'll be hoping Mark picks me on Saturday, and then another tough game against Maud in East Fife. Yeah, so we'll all be getting minutes, but it's all about just making sure we're ready for Saturday. Lossymouth at home, like, because that's the games we're really thinking about.
Aye, that's important stuff, isn't it? Getting off to a winning start, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's massive, you know, just to get a good win and first win and then take it from there and hopefully like have a good start to league. You know, I think 2 years ago when we did have a great start, last year was a bit different, but circumstances were different in terms of what to play in that League Cup, did we? Or we were fortunate enough to play in the League Cup, but I think we played with quite a depleted squad at the time, so that meant that we probably weren't as prepared for the first game of the season as what we probably are this time. Boys have had a good break, and then they've had a good pre-season where they've worked hard, and we've got some good friendlies, a mixture of junior and SFL and SPL teams. So I think we've got good prep for Lossy.
So last year we started half a season with games with Kilmarnock, Stenhouse, Muir, Montrose. Who was the other one we had?
Park Thistle, was it?
Park Thistle. Did you enjoy those games?
I didn't play mine. Well, what happened was towards the tail end of the season, we won a league. I actually got a scan results back that I tore my meniscus, so I needed a knee op, but I got an injection just to get me through the end of that season. And the plan was to get an op at the start of the following season. So that's what ended up happening. I was fortunate enough to get an operation middle of pre-season, which would obviously get me back September time. So I missed them games, you know, but a few others did actually. I mean, I think Louis and Paul were maybe injured for part of it. So we played with some of the youngsters. I actually said to Zane Laird last week at training, I said, I think you've played against more SFL teams for the Broch than you have played for Highland League games, because he just seemed fortunate. He was played in all those games, and then he played St Johnstone and Trust, and he's had a really good start to his career, like in terms of who he's played against. My debut was Fort William, so I mean they were good games for the club in terms of exposure, and it's quite rewarding to be playing with the big boys. You know, it just means that you obviously did the job right season before, but I think playing a depleted squad kind of affected guys. Just in terms of their energy, like, so. Yeah, no, I didn't play those games, mate. I had my knee up.
I forgot you didn't play. So we were playing those games because the season before we went to win the league. How was that feeling for you?
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. Obviously the climax at the end of winning it, but I would say even when we came back for COVID, I think we've spoke about this previously, like, but really driven, and then we obviously played that 3 games and they curtailed it again, you know, put us in another lockdown. So, because we felt we were ready to kind of challenge, that was probably our first year where we thought, you know, we've got a squad capable, you know, with a good mixture of youth and experience, and, you know, felt that we were ready to challenge that year. So there's a bit of frustration grew, you know, when that season got curtailed and Brora ended up getting awarded. I mean, it's rightly so, because, you know, they finished top and they didn't get a chance to play in the playoff the season before, but there's a bit of frustration from players then. Like, so I think that just drove us to the start of the fall season, which ended up being the season 1 of league. But yeah, pre-season we you could see with the boys there was a bit of a real focus in the group, you know, that wanted to achieve something that year, and it was a league title. That's what we've been going after, and like some massive games in the course of winning it. You know, the crazy ones like a 6-2 against Barora, where went 2-0 down early doors at Bellslea, and we thought, oh my god, what's happened here? Like, and they managed just to find something, you know, just up at a few gears, but some belief within the team. End up being an emphatic win in the end, like, and then, you know, Brecon stands out as a mad game as well. I mean, well, obviously with COVID, there's still COVID issues at that point, you know, where if you were positive or that, so we had 2 boys missing, and Heiser and Kizo, but that was our 2 centre halves probably the week before, like, so we had to reshuffle and went 3-0 down after, well, it felt like 5 minutes, like I think it was 15, 20 minutes. Could have been more as well. I'm sure their striker went through in a couple of chances, and easy chances, and sclaffed his lines. So I was grateful for that. But yeah, Paul Young plucked a header out of, I'm sure he got an end a header in the box, and they got a man sent off, and they seemed to, I don't know, just change their style. I think they just wanted to maybe sit in and protect a 3-1, but that allowed us just to throw a few kitchen sinks at it, like, so got a win in the end. But I mean, those games are brilliant. They're really amazing games, to be fair, but I think boys would say they equally enjoyed, you know, the ones where to grind it out results. Clark-na-Cuddon stands out, you know, where Kiesel got sent off, the pulling a boy back. He wasn't fast then like he is now, like, but he pulled the boy back, and then they'd equalised, but they were really on top of us, you know, and it felt like we just need to hold out for a draw here. And Scott Barber does what Scott Barber does, I guess. He came out with a last minute winner. So that was amazing, like, because playing up there is quite hard, you know, it's quite difficult. That was a game that stood out. Nairn, probably the second last game of the season, it stood out as well, like, just because how tight it was, you know, and I think there was a lot of nerves in the ground that day. Kind of felt, not so much in the park, but definitely around the ground, you know, you felt a bit of anxiousness between every chance was gasps, you know, that they had. So it was a bit nervy. I'm sure the weather, the heavens opened at 10 to go, and there was a gale wind. Normally it's down the garage side, but for once it was up towards the sponsor lounge, so it was against us, so we didn't feel that we were getting out of park. So that was a real grind out.
Ryan, you said there's a lot of nervousness at the side of the park. Does that affect the players?
No, and to be fair, no, really. As I said, I think there was a lot of belief within that squad and that group of players. 11 that played, the subs that came on, you know, we were always confident of winning matches. Like, I mean, I think obviously because just how close we were, you know, and the fact that Bucky were pushing us every step, you know, I mean, you do feel that there is an anxiousness, but it didn't really feel, I don't think it impacted my play or the player at the team, you know, we were just quite settled in doing our job. I'm sure, I think they had a one-on-one at one point, like, I think I was maybe a bit nervy then. I think Gleeski managed to save a shot for the boy left winger, like, so that was a relief. But yeah, no, it didn't really affect me, mate. The Forest game I thought was pretty comfy as well. I mean, we played against the wind, and usually in those games when we play against the wind in the garage end first half, it's all about just keeping it tight. I mean, if we go in 0-0 or even 1-0 down, I think that's still deemed a winner just because how strong the wind is sometimes, you know. So I think because we're 1-0 up, it was like, oh, we'll manage to really go stamp our authority in this game now that we're playing downwind and push them back. So yeah, no, it was a game where we didn't feel any stress, any pressure or nerves, to be fair.
I think a hugely pivotal game was when we drew 1-1 at the Henley Turf, because we then went on a 10-game streak to win it.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight now, you think about it, it probably was a massive boot up the arse. But that game was, I mean, my engagement party was actually that weekend, the Turf game. So when we drew 1-1, I'm sitting in change rooms thinking, oh, these boys aren't going to come now, like, you know. It looks sulky, but to be fair to them, we had a good set to, boys said their words they needed to say, you know, there was a bit of anger there, like, but we kind of, Baxter made a point, or Mark, I'm sure one of them stood up and says, look, it's not let it affect tonight. We'll go to Risey's engagement and enjoy it. And boys just wouldn't got absolutely blutered. Like, so I think that probably had a factor. Like, it seemed to maybe just create that extra bond with the team. Because we came to training on Monday, and it was more about at night out rather than speaking about results. Sometimes if you have a bad result, and we'll go home and maybe take it out in families, or we're set in a mood, that normally goes to Monday training session, and it's just a bad mood then. But now that Monday, it was almost like, right, let's get going. We've got 10 games and we're capable, so let's tick them off one by one. And thankfully we did.
And the way Bucky were playing, we hit the date to win the league, which was great. We had a fantastic finish.
I know, mate. I mean, even games like the Wick Academy game, we were so close to winning it. When they ended up drawing that game, but they were 1-0 down till the 88th minute. I remember a WhatsApp group was going a bit of daft, just because it was obviously like so close. But then I think one of the boys made a point: you don't want to win it like that, We kind of wanted to win it the way we did in front of a massive home support, because that support, Fraserburgh support, was with us throughout that season. They were with us week in, week out, travelling up to Barodas on Wednesdays, and that's a brilliant support. It's good to win it in front of them.
To date, would you rank that as your winning the league as your highlight of your career so far?
Yeah, it tops a lot. I mean, I think obviously cup finals and Scottish Cup games stand out more than leagues. I mean, I've enjoyed 11 years at a club, but that season, just because, as I said to you earlier, I mean, what we're building towards, it's like it was a journey, that boys were invested in. The boys that were with, started it with Mark and Baxter, were invested into their plans, their thoughts. It was a journey that I wanted to be a part of, well invested in it. And then every time we signed the odd player, it was adding quality to teams. So it was just a relief that we managed to get over the line at time, because that's what we've been pushing towards. But no, it was tops a lot, to be fair. Yeah,
There was a celebration at night. Well, I should know, I was there at the pub about 3 o'clock in the morning, which is unusual for me. But how did you feel for the final whistle blew? What was your feeling?
it was probably relief more than anything, mate, because Bucky pushed us all that way, and we knew that we were going to the last game. But yeah, I mean, I was just waiting for that final whistle, and it's more the fans, mate. I loved the crowds that we got towards the end. But even you can find the odd guy that goes week in, week out. I've got a great relationship with the boys just down along for the dugout. I know their names till this day. It's been 11 years, but I'll always make a point of running up and having a yap with them, So to see the smiles in their faces, and then my family's over at the dugout, the tunnel side. Ken Finlay was ecstatic. Peter Bruce, Xander, I mean, you can name heaps of them. So just seeing how buzzing the whole ground was, that we managed to achieve this for them. That was a big win that night.
It just shows you've had the confidence of the community.
It's been ace. It has been ace. I mean, even amount of kids, I says to Graham Noble that day, I says, let's go try and get as much kids on the park as we can. And I didn't realise he was got to bring on about 500. I just says, look, we'll just go find one or two, or just every time you see somebody wanting to come on, just throw them on. But sure enough, I think we went back in to change rooms to come walk out one by one, and I think I was a guard of honour all the way up to the trophy. So that was class. But community's been ace. It's always been a club that I've thought's been very well run, and there's always that relationship between the club and perhaps your community and all the youth set up, and obviously the development, the link up. I mean, I've got that kids festival tomorrow, and I couldn't believe the response and how quick the response was that kids wanted to come down. So it's mad. It's almost humbling, as I say, I'm a professional player. You'd expect that, you'd expect to get 20 fans, never mind 300 religiously, and then 150 kids wanting to come and support a Brock. Just us usual and just numpties that come into Bellslea and put on their boots and run about for 90 minutes. You're not expecting to see that. So it's really humbling and rewarding, and we're grateful.
You said you've got a young kids thing happening more, which is part of your testimonial. We'll get your testimonial in a second. What do you think the reason there's so many testimonials awarded to Brock guys stay so long? What would you say is the reason behind that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just alluded to a couple of points there. Like, I mean, since I've came to the club for day one, like I've had really good relationships. I mean, it's not just teammates. Normally when you come into a game and you start playing football, you think it's in the changing rooms that you build these bonds. Like, but
Mhm.
it's more than that, Frisbee. You guys you meet at the door like yourself, and then when you come in, like Finlay, I'll speak to you. That's a chairman of the club, and he's quite happy to yap to you. And then you go up to the boardroom, you've got boys in there, and then the girls in there. Welcome in. Xander's mum in the tea hut. She gave me abuse last time. I think I heed her the bath her back, like, so she's not happy with me now, like. But the that just makes so amazing, just the well, I spoke about Xander there just now. I mean, he typifies the place, just loves. You can tell as soon as he's at Bellslea, he's in his element, and he just lives for it. So things like that just make you feel so heartfelt and so amazing to play for a club like Fraser. Like, and I mean, we're high in league. It's now like we're playing. I'm not speaking about playing Premier League here, but there's a lot because you've got this good connections with all these people. Like it makes you want to stay. It makes you want to play here. Like, and I think that's the same for all my teammates. I've been lucky enough to play in testimonials of some of the legends, like, and they would say the same to you. I think Willie will ever leave. Like, he seems to stay. Scott Barber's already said that he's talking more for Derek once he retires and Alex. So. I think you'll get rid of these boys. Like,
Well, it's great to see. So we got a big match coming up on Saturday.
yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Again, just amazing. Like, I mean, I've almost put it to the back of my mind for the last few weeks. Like, so just wanted to focus on having a good close season, getting fit. Then pre-season's been a bit stop-start, unfortunately, but I've had a wee injury setback, but I've managed to get through over to back of that. So that's been my focus. My partner will tell you that because I've been moaning about the house for about 3 weeks, like, but she sees a smile on my face now, so she's happy. But I know that it kind of, I mean, normally my week's focused on a Saturday, so after Saturday passed, you can almost like, right, next game, obviously Brock United, next game's Aberdeen, so, I was just looking forward to it. I mean, it's not just a day for me either, like Willie. I mean, it's a day for my family. I mean, my mom, my dad, they're at games religiously every home game, away games when they can, so I want a day to be special for them as well. Even my immediate family, my cousins, my sister Megan, sorry, she came to a lot of games, especially in the league season. The season one of league, maybe glory hunting then, like, but she she comes to a lot of games, and all my nieces and nephews are got to be there. So just my close friends. So I mean, it's not often it's never happened like this, where so many people close to you out with football that's coming to this one-off match. So I want a day to be special for them. Like, it's kind of what I'm looking forward to most.
Are
And
you an
then walking
emotional
out.
kind of chap, Ryan?
I am emotional. I am emotional. Like, I mean, actually, Mark Simpson sent through program notes for a proofread yesterday, and I wasn't going to read them because I wanted to read them on a day, but then I thought that's maybe a bad idea because I'll just be crying the whole time. Like, so I did open it this morning, and I shedded a couple of tears, but nothing really massive. But then it'll be great. I mean, walking out, walking out with my son's got to be a massive for me. Like, I think 2-3 years ago, I maybe said to Tasha, like, she reminded me that kind of wanted to one day walk out with my, if I was lucky enough to get a testimonial for a club, that I would like to walk out with a son. So, it's a wee, I suppose you could say it's a dream come true in a way. And he's got a wee little Fraser kit as well that we've went to full extents. Like, we've got a wee Adidas trainers, socks, shorts. He's got a top taken in, age 5 to 6, but we've not had to take it in that far. That's how bad, that's how big he's getting. Didn't have to take it in that much. So, I can't wait to see him in that and walk out with him in the Bellslea. It's something I can't wait for.
So when the game starts, are you going to be able to concentrate?
I think I will. I mean, I think I will. I just run about like a daft day anyway, do I? So I can do that. Mark probably tell you that there's not much concentration in other games, never mind this game. So I think I just kick a ball at the park and shout at Fig, stay on side. That's probably 2 points that I'll mark sure of.
You were ringing far wrong with Dina. Now, if it happens, if the team's ready out on Saturday and you're in it, it's going to happen then.
To be fair, that's been a really strong possibility this last couple of weeks. Like, I made sure I got some minutes yesterday just so he knows I'm still a player. Like, because I was beginning to think he thought I was a coach, fitness coach. Like, but I mean, so I'm sure if I ask nicely, then he might put me in a team. But I'm not promising that I'll manage to last the 90. Like, 'cause it's been a while since that happened.
As long as you get a start. Are there any surprise guest appearances, or are you keeping it under your hat till Saturday?
No, it's been announced. It's been announced on Facebook. I mean, well, obviously Grant Campbell. I was chumming his ear for a couple of weeks to ask if he'd play like just one more time. I felt kind of it was a bit unfair because he was such a great player for us, and I mean, especially at leagues when it's day one, he was ace. You know, in terms of the experience he brought for Cove. So, you know, and then when he played that last season, he was really, like I said, a lot of guys were crawling over the line. Well, he was one of them. You know, he was putting his body in the line week in, week out to play through a pain barrier and try and get the league title for the team and for the fans. So I kind of was wanting him to come back one more time because he kind of retired was pretty surprisingly. You know, it was just after the season is finished and close season, there's not really much involvement with the team. You know, so he'd put a text out to say that was him calling it a day because of the injuries and he wasn't able to recover. So I was quite keen once I found out that he's playing. He plays futsal now. He's doing really well with coaching futsal in Aberdeen and promoting that with the youngsters. So he's been playing adult futsal. So I knew he still had a touch, and he came back to training and he was just dominating. To be fair, mate, did really well possession, and so he was a guest originally, but turns out he's managed to sign that. I take full credit for that. To be fair, like mate.
Signed a 2-year contract.
So I signed a contract, so he signed a 2-year deal. Like, so he was a guest, but obviously now a squad player. And then Gary Harris, I thought I'd give him just a pity invite, you know. Seen he did a marathon, and I thought he maybe is fit enough for 5 minutes.
So Ryan, you're saying if somebody's done a marathon, they'll get an invite to play.
Well, Gary Harris, because I was. No, Gary Harris needed to do a marathon for his final years at Fraserburgh. Like, it's just, but I mean, I sat next to Harris. Well, he was in changing rooms, at home changing rooms. You know, you've got your own peg pretty much, or the same place you sit at. Kind of every home game, and me and Harris used to sit beside each other, so had some laughs with him. And he was a miss to me last year. Just Greg Buchan and Ross 8 could sit aside me, but they've not got the same patter. They're so Harris is coming through. He's got to play. We'll maybe give him 5 minutes. Well,
is there any danger of the three musketeers appearing on the same pitch, i.e. Ryan Cowie, Mark Cowie and Dean Cowie? Any danger of that?
Nah, it's annoying though, because that's one thing that's never happened. I've said that before. I think it's probably a regret or something I would have really liked in my career is to play alongside Dean and Mark at the same time. Because how it stemmed is that I kind of played with Mark when I first came to Fraserburgh, but Dean went back to Peterhead at that spell, and then Mark moved into management and took Dean over, so I started playing with Dean again. So I'd been teammates of both of them, but at different spells. So I'd never actually played that game with the three of them. But no, I mean, I played a charity match with Dean, close season, like, and I just felt sorry for him running on the park, like, you know. And then I think for about 4 days later, he was sending me photos of his knee 3 times the size. So I wouldn't want to put him through that. And I mean, Mark would have got a bid as well, like, but he talks a good game, and when he's doing his team talks, how good a player he was. So I don't want the players to actually know what level he's at. So I'll just allow him to just continue to boost his ego and team talks. So I'll leave it to
doing him a favour by not playing him, I.
Doing him a favour, right? Doing him a favour. They're both part of my day, you know. As I said, I was quite keen to have them for a one-off game, but obviously because they're one's injured and one's manager, they're both going to be part of the coaching team.
Okay.
Should be good.
See, the last time you did a podcast with me, Ryan, you picked your best 11. Then with your best 11, there's only 3 players still playing on that team. Do you know who they are?
Scott Barber,
Peg's one of them.
Brian Hay,
Ryan Hay.
Willie West.
That's it. It's only 3 of your original 11 still playing. Funny how time flies and things change, eh?
To be fair, you say like 11 years, but I've been lucky. The amount of players I've played, good players I've played with, and I've almost came into it with, again, folks if it wasn't the same new or that, but I've almost played with 2 different generations. You kind of, I played with the likes of Russell and Boomer, Mainzer, Gizzy, Dicko, experienced all that, and then you've got different type of players, more fitter players, but again, so I'm kind of experiencing both, a lot of good players in the best 11 I picked 2 years ago, but to be fair, I think I can make a couple of changes now because I've played with great players since that time. And then for my time does finish, whenever that may be. The boys that I'm playing with now, they've got the capabilities to definitely be in there. I just hadn't played them long enough when I picked that first 11.
Your finishing date's a long way away yet.
Aye, of course it is. I'm a new man, got a new knee.
Well, like I said, I'm disappointed I'm not getting on the door to welcome me in on Saturday.
It's a shame.
I
think there's a few holidays can be helped. I'm mindful the fixture came. Well, Aberdeen obviously said the date to us if we'd be available, and we kind of just bit their hand off. But then, as soon as you tell some guys that you're close to the club and that we've got a date and it's the 15th, there's a few boys. George Tom's there. I'm sick of that. 'Cause he's been a great supporter. Martin Gray's not there either. I'm sick of that because he's a great supporter as well. And me, Jason Nicol. I think Finlay was meant to be on holiday. I'm not sure if that's still happening, but so it's guys like that you want to enjoy a day as well, in yourself. So it's a sickener, but I'm sure I'll forget about it once I go through the door, will I?
I'm sure he will. Well, it just leaves me to wish you all the best for Saturday. I hope you have a great day with you and the family. And I'll catch up with you following Saturday for the East 5 game.
You enjoy your holiday, yeah?
Right.
It's all inclusive.
Oh, absolutely. Well, depends what the wife allows me to talk. Right, catch you later, pal. I'll see you at Wigan Saturday at the East 5 game.
See you, mate. Thanks for your time.
Thanks again, Ryan. Take care, pal.
Cheers, buddy. Bye.